The CCP is the adversary of our time, and anyone that says otherwise is being selfish or lying to you or looking for financial gain.
Both of them have ties to the CCP.
It is a national security issue when a country cannot provide for itself.
A country has to be able to feed itself, fuel itself, and fight for itself to truly be free.
And I said I have no interest in having a meeting.
It's a disgrace.
How did we let that happen? That's just wrong.
Perhaps the most important is securing and protecting American farmland ownership, actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries. Additionally, working with the Secretary of the Treasury along with our Defense Department on memorandums to ensure that moving forward, there is a much more intentional look at who is buying what in this country and from where they are in the world.
Someone who's charged with leading the Defense Department, I want to know who owns the land around our bases and strategic bases, and getting an understanding of why foreign entities, foreign companies, foreign individuals might be buying up land around those bases. That's something I should be paying attention to on behalf of the American people, on behalf of my department, and on behalf of the president. It's common sense.
Illegal and highly toxic chemicals from Mexico were smuggled into the U.S., and the Department of Justice is prioritizing the arrest of those illegal aliens doing it. Additionally, our National Security Division is actively monitoring foreign threats to American agriculture. Last month in Michigan, this is very frightening, we charged 2 Chinese nationals for attempting to smuggle potential agro-terrorism weapons into the United States. Both of them have ties to the CCP. Just days later, we arrested another Chinese citizen for sending packages of concealed biological materials into the United States. It's going to stop. FBI has opened over 100 biosmuggling investigations in recent years. We will prosecute you. We will hold you accountable.
Long before I had the honor of serving as President Trump's Homeland Security Secretary, I was a farmer. I was a rancher. In fact, I've worked on food policy for over 30 years. And I've watched for decades as evil foreign governments, including China, have come into this country and they've stolen our intellectual property. They've manipulated their currency. They've treated us unfairly in trade deals. They've come in and purchased up our processing companies, stolen our genetics. Our Customs and Border Protection units are the ones that all of our goods come into this country and leave this country on. We will continue to make sure that we have the systems in place, the people in place, the experts in place, and the policies in place to make sure that this country always feeds itself, and that we always have the ability to grow our own food, and that we rely on no one else to feed the people of the United States of America, because it is a national security issue when a country cannot provide for itself. And we will never let any other country control our food supply or control our people, because we will always be the great United States of America.
The last couple of months, we've passed new legislation just this year allowing us to prohibit them from now not only owning farmland in our state, but from building or buying land around our military bases and critical infrastructure. The fact that we now have a president who understands who our real enemies are and is willing to take them on is making a huge difference, not just in our country, but around the world. You know, we've talked a lot about today a country's ability to feed itself, but that's not the only place, and that's not the only role agriculture plays. A country has to be able to feed itself, fuel itself, and fight for itself to truly be free.
First year in 23, we were able to pass legislation that took all Chinese equipment off of all telecommunications across the state. That was the first step. Second step was making sure that no land is purchased by any foreign adversaries in the state of Nebraska. Third step is simply, we have direct conversations with companies that are from China. Syngenta called me, wanted to come to the Capitol and have a meeting, and I said I have no interest in having a meeting, have no interest in you being in Nebraska. My suggestion would be to leave. My suggestion would be to get a different job. I'm really, really proud to announce that Syngenta has sold their business in Nebraska to a family-owned genetic company from the United States. It's really important that the leaders behind me, that we continue to have the courage and the wisdom to never back down and to stand up and protect our land and protect our families.
China is a threat. They're not a threat. They are dominating us in almost everything that they do because we've set back and the politicians have been counting their money instead of doing what's right and helping this country stay in the front. We've got to be number one. We can't be number two. We've got to fight back. They are coming into our country and buying our farmland. In my state of Alabama alone, they own 2.2 million acres of farmland. That's right, in Alabama. Foreign adversaries. It's embarrassing of what we've done. Now, don't blame the farmers. The farmers have to make a living, and if they can't make a living, they have to sell their farmland. The Biden administration forced our farmers to sell their farmland by all the things they did to them. It's a disgrace.
You can see on this chart the hundreds of thousands, and by the way, this is just China-owned. This is not other countries of concern owned, such as North Korea, Russia, Iran, and others. You can see that a lot of those, the red blocks, are actual military bases.
If you look at the gradations of threat, that's the most obvious. I mean, how did we let that happen? How did we let that happen? It's not just the idea that you can surveil troop movements, flights, all the things you would worry about just from a pure national security view. But if they're owning the farmland, they have access to all of they're going to get the seeds that way too. And so ultimately, the other thing they want to do is, which is why they bought Smithfield Foods. I don't even know this, but China consumes 50% of the pork in the world. Did you know this? So when they acquire Smithfield's Foods and the entire pork chain, it's like that becomes a weapon in and of itself. So the more land they acquire here, the more control they have. And it's a business model. I mean, we're the United States, but they treat us like a colony. They do the same damn thing down in Zambia with tobacco and around all of Africa. They buy land, they bring in Chinese workers to work the land, and then they ship the food back to China, and the people around starve or pay higher prices. So when you ask us, what's this about? It's about everything. Food security is national security.
To me, the Chinese owning land is just a small piece of the puzzle. I'm much more concerned with food supply down the road here, that right now foreign entities own about 1/5 of the protein processing. Between beef and pork, JBS and Smithfield own about 1/5, maybe 1/4 of the protein processing in this entire country. That's just wrong. I think beyond that, it's the intellectual property theft. It's the Chinese scientists that are in our own universities and research that are stealing intellectual property. It wasn't too long ago they were taking rice seeds from my alma mater. The Attorney General mentioned something up in Michigan. It's that constant threat. But what really keeps me awake, the real threat to me, the biggest, is bioterrorism. If you could imagine a COVID-like virus made in a laboratory in Wuhan, China, that could infect all the hogs of the world, but you had an mRNA vaccine that could protect your own hogs, what would that do to our world's food supply?